Welcome to the world of Kenny Candlesticks. Watch as a green joker opens a magical book, and charts and patterns explode into view. Prepare for insights and strategies. Your trading journey starts here. Get ready for the show with Kenny. Subscribe and turn on the notifications.
Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful morning, and today I would like to go over the XRP price chart. Since we last left off, we got somewhat of a rebound here. This is super exciting, and I'm going to show you guys why today. XRP, we've believed in this structure as a macro structure for a long time, and XRP makes these traditional XRP type consolidations and moves higher. This is actually the breakout from the larger structure, which I'm going to go over later. But the reason why I believe that this XRP fractal is not respecting the bottom trend lines here, and it's actually coming lower, is because it's actually just a pullback in a macro breakout. So we're going to take a look at a couple things today. XRP, we believed in it because of its original macro structure, made another consolidation here. This consolidation here has still not hit target. So if I were to draw this here, take a line from here, take it to there, put it on the funnel, you still have not made target. I mean, you haven't even hit 4 yet. So just the measurement from this structure alone, you know, should get you at least to about 4.1 or 4.2. So pretty much we still have a chance, you guys. If you held on this long, I know it's difficult, but let me zoom in a little bit so we can really get down on the price action and we can really see what's going on here. So let me go to the 2 hour. I'm just going to cycle down. So we know this is the consolidation that we've been in, and then it looked as though it could have been an XRP fractal, but we actually got a lower low right here, and that turned it into a falling wedge. And then we actually got a lower low, I believe, right here. Just by a few ticks, but it's a descending channel in a macro breakout. It looked like an XRP consolidation, came up here, broke out for a little bit. We talked about that because there were some uneven areas around the 6th of September. Broke out, formed a consolidation here, turned to a double top, and you got a major wipeout to the bottom, leverage wipeout. Before you came, got a return, and you're hanging high now. So I'm going to dial all the way down to the 15. So we can go ahead and see what we got. So back here, this was back in August on the 29th, and we talked about originally, from the view of a market maker or liquidity provider, there's different levels where they will defend these levels, and there's certain levels where they will accumulate, and these structures imprint into the market as far as the candlesticks. So you came down here originally, and you got major absorption here at 2.76, got your move away. So that wall was defended for the time being. Got your move here, then you came down, and then that was your real sell-off. That gave big players an ability to average in lower from this price. So then from 2.76, they got to come down here where the real wall is, and we saw it on the order books. If you'd like to go back and take a look at the previous videos, a couple back, you know, we were looking at the order books and we saw this wall here. So we already know it's there. It's 2.7, and price comes down, makes a double bottom in hindsight, but price comes down and it does not cleanly break through this wall. And that's a stack of orders here in a band around 2.7 to 2.68, around there. And it's a stack of orders in a band, and there was large absorption here, and we got a lot of fills. Someone was collecting buy orders here. and then the market, it defended this wall. It was a pivot point. We got a push up here, so 2.7 is defended. This was the fake breakout. And how do you accumulate large amounts of orders? You need to make it look like you're breaking down so shorts can pile on, and then you can buy into that and reverse price. And they did it perfectly. There was an illiquid weekend here on the 6th, push price up. That was the trap. Push price up. This consolidation looked like it could have broken upwards. But people that believed it could have broken downwards, once they saw this move right here, it would have registered mainly as a double top, even though it's in the middle of a consolidation, so it's not proper, but it looked as though it was a double top here, top, top. Once you break down here, people start taking shorts, and there's probably a few shorts that collected here. But also on the flip side of that, there was a huge amount of buy orders with tight stops stacked all under here. So these are the levels where when we ran these two levels of 2.779 and 2.797, there was a huge cascade of liquidations because of stops placed from large amounts of leverage. So you have those two dynamics going on. You have shorts piling in here, and then it escalates, and it escalates here and has a liquidation event of stops. And so it comes all the way down and goes further. But you guys, where does this stop? Where's the hard wall where XRP stops going? It's just the same as it was back here. That wall is still in place, 2.7. It doesn't cleanly break through this wall. Even after all that, comes back to the exact accumulation zone, clears price action, and then it rebounds, and we get a reasonable move up. So on the 15-minute, that's how price action works. And these liquidity providers, they buy into the sells that were here as it goes down, and they accumulate as much as they can. Large liquidation wick takes out a lot of over-leveraged players. At the same time, they collect a lot of buys. Who do you think bought this wick all the way back up in a straight line, right? That takes large amounts of money. So this price was bought all the way back up in a straight line, consolidating here, right around the level we talked about of the 6th September, that weekend. It consolidates here to refresh price, and now we're getting a break, finally, above this trend line. So this is super exciting. We are now on top of this trend line again after a violent back test and breakdown. But we came all the way back up, came back on, took a little bounce right here, and boom, we got our move. So I'm going to look back and I'm going to say, okay, well, where have we seen this type of price action before? You know, where have we seen this exact type of thing happen? And I think it's most clear on a relative strength indicator. So XRP BTC. It's a great chart. I think most people are familiar with it. It's going to be a little bit different than, you know, your regular chart. So here would be your traditional XRP consolidation. And this thing looked perfect, you guys. We could have just ripped right here, gone straight up. That would be textbook XRP. But it wasn't that easy, you know. There was too much leverage on the market. Big players weren't ready to let this thing rip yet, with everyone having confidence from a structure like this. So what happens? Boom, you get this large liquidation wick down here past the structure, and then you get your return move, and it looks like you're getting your bullish momentum clip. But here's the thing. Have we seen price action like this before? Let me go ahead and delete this. I'll keep this low here. This was broken, so definitely it didn't hold true to the XRP consolidation structure, but we're going to look at examples today of places in the XRP price where it didn't hold true to the exact XRP consolidation structure, but it still made a move. And there's some very famous there's some very famous patterns for XRP of where this exact thing happened. And the first one I'm going to take you to is the super large macro picture. So we're going to go all the way out. We're going to go here. And we're going to take a look. So we're going to go all the way out. Let me clean this off. And then let's go. Probably going to have to go to the week time frame. So here. Where have we seen that exact structure before, you guys? Well, we've seen it right here in the very beginning of XRP's price action history. You got that same exact consolidation, looks like it's gonna break out, and what do you get? You get a massive liquidation wick here, which could be deemed as, you know, as a platform problem, you know, like some of these exchanges, maybe they didn't have the liquidity to handle it. This showed up on some exchanges, and on some exchanges it didn't at the time, because XRP was trading much less liquid. So it wasn't as liquid, and you got moves like this on different exchanges. But what happens right after? Price wicks back up and sits here in this consolidation like this wick never happened, right? And if we go back to XRP BTC, that's about exactly what we got on our chart. So let me go ahead and go back real quick. So let's go to the 8. So you guys, does this structure look familiar? It's that same consolidation, except you get this large liquidation wick down and it gets bought back up right into the structure. Where does it really hold that structure? XRP BTC. It's a great example of it. And if you count where price action really traded, you haven't broken much down below this structure. And it could just be a false liquidation wick. That's the momentum, that's the spring that potentially you might need before pushing this move higher, shaking all the over leveraged longs, and then at the same time you're collecting a huge amount of buy orders from any sellers that got short here. So another example of this, let's go to another example. I'm gonna just do one more. I don't want to make this video too long for you guys, but I definitely have a lot of stuff to cover here. Let's go, I'll go back to this chart here. So where do we see this? Where did we see an example of where XRP made a traditional XRP consolidation and didn't just break out the top and actually had a crazy backtest? It would also be right here. So this one's a little harder to see, but you're getting something like that. And this was the macro breakout for the larger structure here in XRP before we made that original run to the second consolidation. So we all remember this one, we were at like 50 cents, you know. But it makes a traditional XRP-like structure, comes up here. This one actually had a false breakout to the top, right? This one was sitting a little bit higher. False breakout to the top, major liquidation down. There's your lower part. So this structure was invalidated originally. Comes down, invalidates the structure, just like it did, and then it rips. And I'm going to go back to the original XRP structure, and we're going to see what happened after. So this is our structure. You got a little bit of chop down here after this large liquidation wick, got a little bit of chop, and then boom. That was your move. So, you know, no promises, of course. This is a probability game, but 2.7, that level was defended. We got a huge wick on the bottom side, and we've seen this before. So that's pretty much where we're at. And real quick, last thing, if we go ahead and go to a Litecoin chart, I think it's a great barometer of where the overall market sits here. So as for Litecoin, we got a very similar consolidation here. Got your breakout. That was the early days. And then recently, more recently, we've been making this exact XRP consolidation on Litecoin. And you have a really distinct three impulses here. You have your first impulse, you have your second impulse, lower, all consolidating, it's tighter, tighter, and then here's your third impulse here, and you're sitting up here and you're waiting for that breakout. So it's very obvious, I think, that we still haven't broken out and we're waiting for that moment. But we know when it comes, it happens quick. This is not a topping pattern, in my opinion. This is a consolidation before it's able to escape this range in here, and you can finally get a move up. So we're going to see if that's possible. Hopefully the rest of the market follows along, but right now would be a great time, in my opinion, for someone with a lot of money who cares about these order books to reverse price back up, leave people behind because they couldn't get leverage in under that long wick on XRP. It would be a lot more difficult for them. Some accounts were wiped. It might be the best shot they have before releasing the beast. So I hope that everyone has a wonderful day, and thank you.